Rahm Emanuel fires the Chicago police chief 1 year later. Freddie Gray's murder trial begins. Rahm Emanuel fires the Chicago police chief 1 year later, and Freddie Gray's murder trial begins. Thank you for tuning to the Black Political Buzz, and my name is Laurel. On this vlog, I want to briefly give you an update on the LAQUAN MCDONALD case and the Freddie Gray murder case. The LAQUAN MCDONALD case, as you all know, took place in Chicago last year in 2014 when LAQUAN MCDONALD, a 17-year-old teenager who was a ward of the state of Illinois in the foster care system, was shot 16 times by a Chicago police officer who claimed that LAQUAN was trying to commit burglary and trying to assault him with a knife. Nevertheless, during that time last year when LAQUAN was murdered, and by the way, when he was murdered, he was a ward of the state of Illinois foster care system. So when LAQUAN MCDONALD was killed at age 17, he was a ward of the state of Illinois in the foster care system. Anyway, after he was killed, murdered, shot 16 times by a police officer, Mayor Rahm Emanuel, Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel, during last year, was embroiled in being reelected. He was embroiled in a heated mayor's race. He was running against a Latino opponent by the name of Garcia. His last name was Garcia. He was a Democrat, and he had a great chance at becoming the first Latino mayor of Chicago. But the Democrat power brokers like Obama, like President Obama, Democrat power brokers like President Obama, they shut that down. They shut down Mr. Garcia's chances of becoming the first Latino mayor of Chicago. They shut it down so that Rahm Emanuel could be reelected. So Rahm Emanuel in 2014, he didn't have time to, have the investigation of LAQUAN's murder, conducted. He didn't have time to order an investigation of why LAQUAN MCDONALD was shot 16 times by a police officer in Chicago, because Rahm Emanuel wanted to be reelected. So he kept that murder quiet, so to speak, paid off LAQUAN MCDONALD's irresponsible mother, gave her $5 million, even though she was an irresponsible mother and her child was in foster care when it was murdered. Rahm Emanuel, Mayor Rahm Emanuel, paid off LAQUAN MCDONALD's mother, gave her $5 million to keep her mouth shut. Well, anyway, a year later, the police officer that shot LAQUAN MCDONALD was finally arrested. He was finally recently arrested. His bail was set at $1.5 million. Bail set at over $1 million. He's already been bonded out by the police union. I repeat, LAQUAN MCDONALD's killer, the officer that shot him 16 times, has already been bonded out of jail. The police union paid for that. The union paid for that. And today, the Chicago police chief was fired. Today, the Chicago Police Department chief was fired. I'm not moved. It was a year later. I'm sure the police chief, y'all gonna give him some money. Rahm Emanuel and Obama is gonna give that police chief some money. He's gonna be good. LAQUAN MCDONALD was still dead. LAQUAN MCDONALD's mother still got hush money. And Rahm Emanuel is still the mayor of Chicago. So I'm not a bit like, wow. No, I'm not like moved by this news that Rahm Emanuel fired this police chief. What was that? For the media optics? Really, what is that, media optics? And by the way, I am not against police officers. I am not against cops. I'm not an anti-cop person, because all cops are not bad. LAQUAN MCDONALD had a terrible, troubled childhood. His mother didn't care about him. She was irresponsible. She didn't even raise her children. She shouldn't have gotten $5 million. How in the world was she able to get $5 million? I don't understand that. I do not understand why LAQUAN MCDONALD's mother received $5 million. For what? She was irresponsible. She let her boyfriends beat the crap out of LAQUAN when he was a child. He was passed around from foster care home to foster care home. Family members, you know, he had a terrible childhood because his mother was irresponsible. So how did she get $5 million? I don't even know. But anyway, that's the update for the LAQUAN MCDONALD case. The police chief of Chicago has been fired. Big deal. And so what? It happened a year later after Rahm Emanuel was elected mayor. He covered it up. It was a cover-up until Rahm Emanuel was reelected. And so, let's move on. Freddie Gray's murder trial. We know Freddie Gray was a black 25-year-old unarmed man. Freddie Gray was an unarmed 25-year-old black man living in Baltimore, Maryland, when he was killed by 6 Baltimore police officers en route to a police precinct in Baltimore. Freddie Gray was arrested for doing nothing. He hadn't done anything wrong. He was just standing. He was just standing there, and a Baltimore cop on a bike called him out for doing nothing. He was literally standing, just standing in the street, not doing anything. A Baltimore cop called him out for no reason. Freddie Gray panicked because he knows the history. Freddie Gray knew the history of the Baltimore cops and their brutality. Freddie Gray was very familiar with the Baltimore cops' brutality, so he ran. Out of fear, Freddie Gray ran. He was tackled, tasered, beat down by some Baltimore cops, thrown into a police van, and killed en route. His spine was severed. Freddie Gray's spine was severed. He died several days after that. Freddie Gray's family has also received hush money from the city of Baltimore, the same way as LAQUAN MCDONALD's irresponsible mother received $5 million in hush money from Mayor Rahm Emanuel in the city of Chicago. So Freddie Gray's family has received $6 million for Freddie Gray's death, which means those cops that killed Freddie Gray in Baltimore, they're going to walk. I guarantee you, they're going to walk. The cop that shot LAQUAN MCDONALD 16 times in Chicago, he's going to walk too. Because why? The families have already been paid off. The families of LAQUAN MCDONALD and Freddie Gray have already been paid off. So why throw the cops in jail? They're not going to go to jail. They should go to jail, but they're not going to. It's a shame how the families of these young black men were paid $6 million and $5 million. So what if Freddie Gray had lived and became wealthy, started a business? What if Freddie Gray had lived and one day started a multi-million-dollar business, and his life would have been worth more than $6 million? What if LAQUAN MCDONALD had lived and started in, a completed college, completed high school, completed college, and started a successful business, started his own business, and the business became successful, and the business grossed way more than $5 million. So you killed 2 young black men. Well, one was a boy, one was a man, both of them black males, because you think their lives were only worth $5 million, and you think, or $6 million, when their lives could have been were worth much more than that. Their lives, Freddie Gray's life and LAQUAN MCDONALD's life, were worth way more than $5 million and $6 million. And if they had lived, they would have had a chance to prove that. So under the Obama administration, black men are better off dead than alive. Under the Obama administration, black men in America, especially young black men in America, are better off dead than alive. And when you kill them, we'll just give you some You know, $5 million here, $6 million here, $2 million here, $3 million here. But what if these men had lived and their lives were worth way more than that? It's a shame. Thank you for tuning into the Black Political Buzz Network. My name is Laurel, and goodbye.